And the reason that is, and the reason psychedelics are such a taboo topic, and the reason they're so poorly understood by scientists and even by many spiritual teachers and gurus and mystics, very poorly understood, is because they're so threatening to one's sense of self and reality. Even some enlightened guru, if he takes enough psychedelics, I can pretty much guarantee that many of his beliefs and ideas about awakening and spirituality will be shattered by the psychedelic because it's so radical. And there's really no end to it. Not that I've discovered yet. You can keep upping your doses more and more and more, and see what happens is that the psychedelic, what it does is it changes the ordinary rigid flow of consciousness. So if we think of just your entire life, the way that it goes, like every morning you wake up, then you brush your teeth, you go to work, then you come back home, you eat, you shit, you sleep, and so on, and then you do that same thing the next day, and you're kind of in a physical 3D reality that we know of. And you interact with your friends and family, all the people that you know, you go to the stores that you know and all that stuff, you're in your house that you are familiar with and all that stuff. You're in the 21st century. All of that is highly fluid and completely arbitrary and changeable in the snap of a finger. The only problem is that you've never actually had it happen to you. Psychedelics will change that for you in an instant if you take enough of them. But the problem will be, can you handle it? See, can you handle that? Because that's very shocking when your reality starts melting around you. And what's even worse about it is not just that you take a chemical and then reality starts melting around you. No. It's way worse than that. The real scary part about it is that you realize that, oh, that life that I used to live, where I used to wake up in a house and go to the store and go to work and talk to my family and friends and blah, 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 and I was living in the 21st century, all of that was just a trip. All of that was a hallucination. It was just an alternative hallucination. It was a very rigid hallucination. And now I finally, for the first time in my life, I've broken out of it. That's what we call the breakthrough experience. If you ever get that. A breakthrough experience with psychedelics is an experience that's so radical that it completely recontextualizes your prior experience of life as you knew it. And it basically shows you that that thing that you thought was life, you were born, you went to school, you got married, you had children, that's all gone. It's all imaginary. You're in a new reality now. Something totally new has happened to you. And it's completely shocking and baffling. Especially because you're trying to come into it understanding it using a sort of scientific materialist paradigm where you're thinking like, well, but I thought there was like an Earth, and I thought there was a universe, there was galaxies, and I thought there were like humans and people, and we were living in the 21st century, and I thought my parents were this way, and my children were like this, and I thought my body was like this, and now all of a sudden all that stuff is gone, and now you have to refigure out what reality is. And that's extremely threatening and scary, which is why people are so negative about psychedelics. There's such a big stigma about it. Every time I talk about it, I get a bunch of shit. People, giving me a bunch of shit for it. And the reason that happens is simply because that's a defense mechanism of the ego mind. That's all that is. So, as I was saying, your whole life has been consciousness just flowing, taking different shapes and forms. Right now, it's taking this particular shape and form, and it's still flowing because, look, sounds are coming out of this mouth, talking to you, you're hearing it, you're understanding it, stuff is happening around you. This is the flow of consciousness. This is a hallucination, but it's a very specific type of hallucination. Now, what we can do is we can alter what this stream of consciousness is showing to you.